been another insanely hot day here in the Isle of Man, with temperatures pushing 27 degrees Celsius, which for the Isle of Man is very, very hot. Us Manxies aren't used to temperatures anywhere approaching that, but I can't really complain. The weather's absolutely gorgeous, and I thought, why not make the most of these conditions and come out and do my first wild camping photography trip. So I've come to a mountain positioned in the southwest corner of the island called Cronknieri-la. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not very good with the Manx names, but this is a stunning mountain which produces fantastic vistas over the Irish Sea and the majority of the island, as you can see behind me. So I'm going to find the best camping spot that I can find here. Doesn't look to be too much flat ground, so it might be a bit of a challenge, and then I'm going to start hunting for some compositions. I've now set up my tent, as you can see just behind me here, and it's a one-manner and it's a Snugpack Ionosphere, and I've never used it before, so this is a bit of a baptism of fire really, but it was really easy to put up, so first impressions are pretty good on it. In terms of the actual location that I've picked, it's probably not perfect. The ground slopes off down this way, so I could be rolling around quite a lot while trying to get to sleep. Also, there's a real dense covering of heather on the ground here, so that may add some cushioning, but it may also add a few bumps underneath my sleeping mat. But not too worried about that because the location is absolutely stunning. If you just look behind me, I've got the sun that sets there, and then the sun rises over there, so I'll get a beautiful opportunity to shoot at both sunset and sunrise. So I'm very much looking forward to spending the night in this location. I've just hiked down the side of the mountain slightly. My campsite is just up there behind that big pile of rocks, and I did find a composition which I quite liked on those rocks, so I may come back to that later. But in the meantime, I found something even better. Just look at this. This cotton grass is outstanding. Now, we get it here every year around this time of year, but I've never seen it quite as dense as this. It is phenomenal. In certain locations, it actually looks like there's snow sitting on the slopes of the mountain if you squint your eyes ever so slightly. In every direction, there's big patches of it. Just look at it going off across the side of this mountain into the distance. Quite remarkable. So I think we're on for quite a nice shot if I can get some of this cotton grass sitting in the foreground of this sunset. So I found this little patch here which I quite like, just because it's a little flat area, so it allows me to get low and actually look across the cotton grass rather than on a slope where it slopes away from me. So I think I'm going to look across this area, try and find my composition and get shooting. But I've got about 15 minutes to sunset, so I better get a move on. I've now found my composition and it's absolutely beautiful, but I'm a little bit worried that I'm not going to be able to do justice to this because the shooting conditions are a little bit challenging, I think, to pull off this image effectively. The main challenge for me at the moment is this breeze that's just picked up out of nowhere. It's been dead calm and still all day, but all of a sudden, just when I come to shoot this beautiful cotton grass, this wind is just whipped up out of nowhere and it's moving the cotton grass all over the place, and this is making getting it sharp in the images really, really tricky. So I'm having to push the shutter speed a bit higher than I usually would in an attempt to try and fix it in the image, but this means that I also need to bump the ISO up as well to get enough light in, because I don't really want to drop my f number too much because then that will decrease my depth of field, and I think focus stacking is going to be really, really tough on this, particularly with all the cotton grass that's moving around in the scene. I may have an attempt at it, but I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off. So in terms of the actual settings that I'm using for this shot, I don't actually know. I'm kind of experimenting with a range of different settings at the moment, different shutter speeds, different ISOs, different f-stops, and I don't know which is going to make the final cut in the actual final image. So yeah, I'll put that into the video, and yeah, let's just wait and see on that front. So for my composition, I've just got some cotton grass sitting here in the foreground, and behind it we've got the sun setting over the Irish Sea there, and then we've also got the west coast of the island pulling off to this direction with a little mountain, well, mountain's probably generous, a little hill sitting in the right of the composition, and I think that adds balance to the sun that's in the left of the composition. So I think that works relatively well. I've popped on a 2-stop hard edge ND grad filter just to take the sky down, and that's about it for filters really. So I think I'm ready to take my final shots here before the sun disappears. What a sunset that was. It was absolutely stunningly beautiful. I've got no idea whether I've done it any justice with that picture, but I don't particularly care too much. It was just lovely to be out here. And this cotton grass is just absolute photography dynamite. It really, really is. And I think it's so good that I'm actually going to get up in the morning for sunrise. And I think I'm going to use it again in my shot. And I've got a feeling that the location that I'm sitting in right now could actually work pretty well for sunrise too, because my sun is going to rise just over those mountains over there, and look what we've got in the foreground here, a beautiful covering of cotton grass as well. So I think I'm going to come down here in the morning and see what I can capture. I'm now back at my tent and the horizon is glowing a beautiful orange at the moment. I just love the twilight you get this time of year. It's just so gorgeous. I could probably stay up all night and shoot it, but it's probably not realistic. I'm going to have to try and get a little bit of sleep, but I feel that little is the operative word there, because this doesn't look too appealing. I do not think I'm going to be getting much sleep on this hillside at all. Thankfully there's not too many midges around, because the wind has picked up a little bit, which is kind of keeping them away. But yeah, it just does not look very comfortable at all. So I'm going to get in it now, and I'll let you know how it feels. I'm now in the tent, and I think this is probably likely to be a candidate for the worst night's sleep I'm ever going to have. It's really uncomfortable in here. So yeah, that's not great. But actually, strangely, I don't mind too much. I'm actually really excited for trying this. It feels like a proper adventure, and it's something I've never really tried like this before. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. The sunrise is about 4:30 this time of year, so I'm going to have to set my alarm pretty early, and that's not too far away. I mean, it's approaching 11 o'clock now, so yeah, I'm not going to get much sleep, but I don't mind too much. Looking at the skies, I think they're going to stay pretty clear, so I think we're going to get a nice sunrise as well. So the plan is to head back down to the cotton grass and see if I can get some compositions. But that's about it for tonight, I think. So I will see you all in the morning. Wish me luck. Wow, what a morning. I had about 6 milliseconds of sleep last night. Felt like I was sleeping in a giant rustling crisp bag on a lumpy seesaw. It wasn't great, but that makes it all worth it. Absolutely stunning. And we've actually got, just over there, a little bit of a cloud inversion, which hopefully sticks around. So I'm going to get my gear together now and head on back down to the cotton grass that I was at last night and find a composition ready for the sun, which should be arriving in about 40 minutes time. I'm now down at the cotton grass and I've picked out my first composition, and I'm back pretty much exactly at the same spot that I shot at last night, but I've just changed my perspective, looking this way for the sun that will rise somewhere over there pretty shortly. Now with this shot, I've tried to go in a bit more close to the actual cotton grass, and I'm pretty happy with the composition on this one. I'm not sure which way I'm going to play it, whether I'm going to try and go with the fast shutter speed again to try and fix that cotton grass as much as I can, because the wind is clearly blowing it around, or whether I'm just going to be a bit more liberal with that and just accept the movement in the cotton grass. Not sure which way. I may just actually take both approaches and see how that turns out. So I can't confirm what settings I'll use for the final shot, but I'll overlay them on the image. I do have a 2-stop soft edge ND grad on just to take the sky down, but that's about it for filters. There's not really a need for anything else in this shot. So now it's just a case of waiting, really. This is an exceptionally hard shot to get right, and it's simply because of the movement of the cotton grass with the wind. It's really difficult to know what shutter speed and what f-stop number to go for. It really is. So I've tried a lot of different combinations because, to be honest, right at this moment in time I don't know what the best combination is for this scene. So I'm going to have to take all of these images back home to post-processing and make my decision there. But ultimately I think there's a shot in there because this scene is beautiful. If I just spin you around, just look at that behind me. Absolutely magnificent. It really is. The best of the light is probably gone now, so I'm probably not going to take any more shots, but I think I'm just going to sit here for a few more moments and just take this in, because it's not every day that you get to sit in locations quite like this. Now heading back up to camp, and I have to say there's really nice cloud inversions just over there that are still lingering around, so I think there's probably a lot more shooting that I could do, although the light's probably a little bit too harsh shooting down that way, but I'm sure from other angles there'll be lots of great shots that you can get around here with the star of the show, the cotton grass. I would say that shot was probably one of the hardest I've had to take in a very long time, just because I simply did not know what way to play it, and that's quite a rarity for me. Usually I've got a good idea on the settings that I need to use, but for this one I really didn't. It pushed the boundaries of what's possible within a camera, so it's going to be very interesting looking over these images in post-processing. I'm now back at camp, ready to take my tent down, head home and have a bit of brekkie. I'm absolutely shattered. I don't even think my brain is working fully yet. So yeah, I may be all over the place in terms of dialogue in this vlog entry. Overall, quite a challenging night. Not much sleep, not much rest, really uncomfortable. But ultimately, I think it's worth it, and the reason being is that view there. I don't think anyone else on this island right now will have that view, and it's only by coming out and wild camping that has allowed me to get that view. I would have had to get up in the middle of the night to come down here to climb this mountain to get that view for the morning sunrise. Nothing puts you out there like wild camping does. So I have to say, for my first wild camping trip, I'm very happy and satisfied with how it went, and I suspect I'll be doing a lot more of these trips over the remaining summer months. If you've been on any wild camping trips of your own, please feel free to add comments below, letting me know your thoughts on your adventures and your experiences. I'm always interested to hear those. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please consider liking, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider subscribing to my channel. And I'll see you all soon, where hopefully next time I won't look like The Walking Dead.